Hi guys, and welcome to day 10 of the 25 sessions of Christmas series brought to you by Foundation Age Coaching. Today we're going to be looking at game constraints when you split your pitch into channels. In the example we're going to be using today, we're only going to be using 3 channels. However, depending on the age of your team, depending on what format you play, you might want to break it into 4 or 5, just based on your needs. But for the simplicity of this practice, we're going to break it into 3, as though you're working with an under 8, under 9 or under 10 team. Now, as I've just explained, it's easy enough. The pitch is split into channels, so there's one on the left, one on the right, and one through the middle. There's no absolute rule that says you have to have these all the same side. You might want your wide channels more narrow than the middle. You might want your middle channel more narrow than the wide. It really depends on which constraints you use and which circumstances or which game situations you want to come out in this practice. So the first constraint we're going to be looking at, and this is one I've done with my under 9s recently that has really helped them, is whenever a team has possession of the ball, they have to make sure that they've got at least one player in each channel. I've seen practices in the past where people get worried about positioning it, and they've got the thought process, oh no, we've got to lock people into these different areas. That way they won't move, that way they won't understand their positioning, but that's not the game. If you lose the ball, are you telling the player they have to stay in one area and they can't go and win it back, even if it's near to them, providing that ball's in the other channel? You're probably not going to want them to do that. If they're close enough, you're going to want them to go and get the ball. So I find that this type of constraint adds a little bit more freedom for the players to think and decide who's going to go where. Now, if you put your players in a formation to start off with, the example we've got on the screen is a 6v6. The Blues are playing a 1-3-1. And the Yellows are playing a 2-2-2-1, then you may challenge certain players in certain positions to cover certain areas when their team has the ball. For example, if the midfielder's got the ball in the middle channel, you're probably going to want the left winger to go left and the right winger to go right. Additionally, for in possession, you can also look at the constraint of if you're working on switching play. For example, if we can build up to a goal and the ball goes in the right channel, the middle channel and the left channel en route, then it's worth 3. And what this does is it encourages the players to start looking for those things, start looking for those opportunities to open up and cover all those spaces, because ultimately they want to score 3 points instead of 1. From an out of possession point of view, then the constraints change a little bit. One I've used recently that I learned from a former colleague of mine was to have, if we're working on compact defending, for example, and with specific focus on defending the goal, the team in possession is able to score from the middle channel, it's worth 3. Whereas the wide channels, it's only worth 1. Now, the idea there is you're focusing on the out of possession team to play closer together, and even if the ball goes into that wide area, while 1 or 2 players might go out, the others are going to stay in the middle to protect that zone, thus keeping the compactness in front of the goal. Additionally, as with the first constraint, as with the constraint for the in possession team, where we said we wanted 1 player in all 3 channels, you might talk to your out of possession team, should I say, and say when we're defending, we only want 2 of 3 channels covered. And if they do concede a goal where you've got 1 player in each of the 3 channels, so they're a little bit more spread out and more open, it's 3 points to the attacking team. Thus, once again, we're trying to encourage them to get closer together and make these decisions to stay compact rather than forcing it on them. So I'm in a really fortunate position with my current role. We get 3 sessions a week, and I like to use these game constraints on a Saturday, which is our match training practice. Obviously, if you're a grassroots coach and you've only got 1 hour, then you might want to spend 20 minutes on this at the end of your session, but build it up over the space of a few weeks. You try 1 constraint 1 week, 1 constraint the next, 1 constraint the next. If you like the session and you've enjoyed the series so far, then please subscribe to us or give us a thumbs up if you've liked the video, and leave a comment in the comment section if you choose to use this practice, and let us know how you get on.